Welcome back to the channel USD Coins and thank you for joining us today. We're diving deep into a fascinating story from the world of numismatics, one that has captivated collectors, historians, and enthusiasts alike. It's the tale of a humble coin, a small copper piece that many might overlook in their daily change, but which holds within it a mystery, a history, and a value far beyond its face. We're talking about the 1963 D. Lincoln cent, commonly known as the Liberty 1-cent coin, minted in Denver, Colorado. At first glance, it appears just like any other penny in circulation. But in rare cases, this coin can be worth not 1 cent, not 10 cents, not even a few dollars, but up to an astonishing $230,000. You heard that right. A single coin that once sat in someone's pocket, dropped into vending machines or rolled up in sleeves at the bank, could now fetch a small fortune. How is this possible? What went wrong, or rather, what went incredibly right, for a coin of such modest origins to become one of the most sought after in American numismatics? In this extended video, we'll explore every facet of the 1963 D. Lincoln cent, from the technical production process at the U.S. Mint to the rare and intriguing errors that have turned certain specimens into treasures. We'll delve into the reasons why error coins are so highly prized, what makes the Denver Mint's 1963 production so special, and the various kinds of mistakes that have led to value soaring into six figures. So sit back and immerse yourself in the hidden world of one of America's most legendary pennies. To truly understand why a coin like the 1963 D. Lincoln cent could be worth up to $230,000, we must begin by looking at the broader context of coin production and error coins. The United States Mint operates under a highly controlled process designed to produce coins of uniform size, design, and metal composition. However, due to the sheer volume of coins struck each year, billions in some cases, even the most stringent processes are vulnerable to the occasional flaw. When these flaws occur, especially under rare or historically unique circumstances, the result is a coin that deviates from the standard, and that deviation is where the value lies. Collectors refer to these flaws as mint errors. There are several categories of mint errors, including double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die caps, brockages, and transitional errors, among others. Each of these mistakes tells a story about the conditions and operations inside the mint at the time of production. In the case of the 1963 D. Lincoln cent, a number of known and theorized errors have contributed to its mythical status in the coin collecting world. But perhaps most exciting of all is the possibility that there are still undiscovered varieties out there, perhaps even in circulation, waiting to be found. Now, focusing specifically on the 1963 D. Mint mark, we are dealing with coins produced at the Denver Mint. In 1963, the Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents. These coins featured the iconic image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design that had been in use since 1909, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner. The reverse displayed the Lincoln Memorial, which had been added in 1959 to commemorate Lincoln's 150th birthday, replacing the earlier wheat ears design. What makes the 1963 D. Lincoln cent particularly intriguing is not just the presence of mint errors, but the combination of specific rare anomalies that can exist in a single coin. These anomalies can include double dies, repunched mint marks, die breaks, off-metal strikes, and striking on incorrect planchets. In rare instances, a coin may exhibit multiple errors, amplifying its rarity and, consequently, its value. Let's take a deeper dive into the individual types of errors and possibilities that contribute to the tremendous worth of certain 1963 D. Lincoln cents. One of the most well-known and sought-after mint errors is the double die. A double die occurs when the die used to strike the coin has been engraved with a doubled image. This doubling is then transferred to every coin struck by that die, creating a batch of coins that all exhibit the same error. On the 1963 D. Lincoln cent, collectors have discovered examples of doubling in various places, most notably on the date, the word "Liberty," and the phrase, "In God We Trust." This doubling can be dramatic or subtle, but even subtle double dies are considered valuable, especially when verified by professional grading services, Another error worth discussing in the context of the 1963 D Lincoln cent is the repunched mint mark. In the early 1960s, mint marks were manually punched into the working dies. This process sometimes led to slight misalignments that were corrected with another punch, resulting in what's known as a repunched mint mark, or RPM. On 1963 D cents, there are known RPM varieties where the D appears to be doubled or shadowed. These RPMs can be quite striking under magnification, and some have achieved high auction values due to their clarity and rarity. Then there are die breaks and die cracks. These occur when the die used to strike the coin begins to wear or fracture, leaving raised lines or blobs of metal on the finished coins. While many collectors seek out perfect specimens, others are drawn to these flawed yet fascinating pieces of history. In the case of the 1963 D, there have been reports of significant die breaks forming what's known as a cud, particularly near the rim of the coin. These cuds can obscure parts of the design and are often highly collectible. One of the more dramatic types of mint errors involves the striking of coins on incorrect planchets. A planchet is the blank metal disc that gets stamped by the coin dies. In rare cases, a cent may be struck on a dime planchet, a foreign coin planchet, or even a transitional composition that was not meant for that year. These errors are exceptionally rare and are often only identified when a coin's weight, diameter, or color seems off. If a 1963 D cent were to be struck on a silver dime planchet, for instance, the metal content alone would be vastly different, and the error would significantly boost its value. The concept of transitional errors also plays a role here. Transitional errors happen when the mint changes the metal composition or design from one year to another, and a few coins are mistakenly struck using the old format or material. Though this wasn't officially the case in 1963, there's always the possibility that transitional blanks or leftover planchets from previous years were accidentally used, making these coins incredibly rare and highly desirable. Collectors and grading companies play a major role in identifying and verifying these errors. Organizations like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, are the gold standard in authentication and grading. When a 1963 D Lincoln cent is found with one of these rare features, it is typically submitted to one of these companies for verification. Upon authentication, the coin is slabbed in a tamper-proof holder and given a grade based on its condition. The higher the grade and the more severe or rare the error, the greater the value. It is worth noting that many of the most valuable error coins have been discovered not by professional numismatists, but by everyday people who took the time to inspect their change or inherited coin collections from relatives. This is what makes the hobby so accessible and exciting. You never know when a coin in your possession might be a hidden gem. There are stories of people finding valuable 1963 D error cents in penny rolls, in old coffee tins, or tucked away in forgotten drawers. What distinguishes a coin worth $230,000 from one worth just a penny is often a subtle anomaly, a small detail missed by the naked eye but picked up by a magnifying glass or microscope. Let's consider a theoretical example of a 1963 D Lincoln cent worth $230,000. For a coin to command such a price, it would likely need to feature multiple significant errors. Perhaps it was struck on a transitional planchet with a different composition, like a silver or foreign coin blank. Add to that a dramatic double die visible on the date and motto, along with a clearly defined repunched mint mark. If the coin is in mint state condition, especially with a grade of MS 67 or higher, the rarity and desirability would be through the roof. Combine that with historical provenance or a pedigree of past ownership, and the value could easily skyrocket. Another factor that can influence value is the demand among collectors. In recent years, the appetite for rare error coins has only grown. Online marketplaces, auction houses, and collector forums buzz with speculation, discovery, and sales. When a particularly rare variety hits the market, it can set new benchmarks for value. For example, if only one or two examples of a certain error are known to exist, and one of them becomes available for purchase, a bidding war can ensue, driving the final price well into six figures. The psychological allure of rare coins also cannot be underestimated. There is something inherently thrilling about owning a piece of history, especially when that piece was never meant to exist. For collectors, it's not just about monetary value, it's about uniqueness, mystery, and the satisfaction of the hunt. Owning a 1963 Lincoln cent with multiple mint errors is like holding lightning in a bottle. It's a tangible reminder of human error, industrial complexity, and the unpredictable nature of chance. Today, in this episode, we're diving deep into one of the most mysterious and highly sought-after coins in American numismatic history, the 1989 Lincoln penny, a coin with a face value of just 1 cent, but with a jaw-dropping estimated worth of up to $210,000 due to its rare and valuable errors. It's a penny that has shocked collectors, mystified experts, and made headlines among coin circles for the rare combination of mint mistakes and die anomalies that make it one of the holy grails in modern coin collecting. So settle in and get ready as we unravel every layer of this fascinating coin. From the origins of the Lincoln cent itself to the specifics of the Denver Mint's production process, and then zeroing in on the errors and peculiarities that have turned a humble 1-cent piece into a small fortune, we'll walk you through the entire story. Whether you're an experienced collector or just starting to look into the hobby, this in-depth look will give you a whole new appreciation for the world of rare coins and the treasures that might just be hiding in your pocket change. The story of the Lincoln cent begins long before 1989. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, this coin became the first U.S. cent to feature a historical figure. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse carried Lincoln's bust, while the reverse originally featured 2 wheat ears. In 1959, to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the reverse was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparro. This design continued through 2008, until the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth inspired another redesign. So, the 1989 penny sits right in the later period of the Lincoln Memorial cent design era, a seemingly ordinary year for most collectors at first glance. However, 1989 was anything but ordinary at the Denver Mint. Coins struck at the Denver facility carry a small D mint mark beneath the date, indicating their place of origin. While billions of pennies were minted that year, a tiny fraction, perhaps only a handful, have surfaced with bizarre, significant, and frankly astonishing errors that defy typical quality control expectations. These errors range from double dies, off-center strikes, and missing design elements, to severe planchet flaws, transitional errors, and even misplaced mint marks. Each of these alone could make a coin worth significantly more than face value. But when combined, they create a kind of perfect storm of minting anomalies that elevates the value exponentially. Let's start with one of the most common yet highly sought-after minting errors, the double die. A double die occurs when the coin die itself has been struck more than once during the hubbing process but not perfectly aligned, leading to a doubling effect on the coin. In some 1989 Lincoln cents, dramatic doubling can be seen in areas like the date, the word liberty, and the phrase, "In God we trust." The doubling is crisp and distinct, often visible to the naked eye without magnification, which makes these coins instantly attractive to collectors. And when this kind of doubling appears on a coin from a year that already had a high mintage, the rarity becomes even more notable, because out of billions, only a few exhibit this phenomenon. Next, let's talk about off-center strikes. Some 1989 pennies have been discovered struck significantly off-center, where part of the design is missing, and you can see a crescent of blank planchet on one side. Normally, a coin blank is fed precisely into the striking chamber, but in rare cases, misalignment can cause the coin to be struck off its intended center. Depending on the degree of the off-center strike, say 50% or more, and the visibility of the date and mint mark, these coins can range from a few $100s to several thousand in value. Another error category includes missing design elements due to die wear or filled dies. In some examples from 1989, the D mint mark is faint, completely missing, or appears in an unusual location. This suggests a misplacement or even a filled die, where debris in the minting equipment prevents the full design from transferring. Coins with missing mint marks can sometimes be mistaken for those struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which didn't use a mint mark on cents at that time. However, the coin's diagnostics, metal composition, strike style, and other markers, reveal its true origin and make such coins incredibly rare and desirable. Planchet flaws are another incredible source of value. A planchet is the blank metal disc that becomes the coin when struck by the dies. In the case of some 1989 D cents, planchet errors have led to coins being struck on foreign planchets, transitional planchets, or improper alloy mixtures. For instance, if a penny was struck on a planchet intended for a foreign coin, say, a dime planchet or a Canadian cent, it could appear much lighter or thinner than usual. Transitional planchet errors are also fascinating. For example, in 1982, the U.S. Mint transitioned from a bronze composition to a copper-plated zinc composition for the penny. If any older planchets were accidentally mixed into the batches years later, such as in 1989, they would yield highly valuable coins. Detecting such errors often requires careful weighing and metallurgical testing, but their rarity makes them incredibly attractive to high-end collectors. Now let's dive deeper into one of the most mysterious and talked about errors, the so-called floating roof error. This peculiar flaw occurs when the tops of the Lincoln Memorial columns are missing, making it look like the roof is detached and floating above the columns. This is likely due to die polishing or excessive wear, which erodes finer details on the die itself. Though some dismiss this as minor or even insignificant, many collectors specifically seek out the floating roof error, especially when paired with other anomalies, and are willing to pay a premium for well-preserved examples. But the real star of the show, and the reason we're talking about values that reach up to $210,000, is when multiple errors combine in a single specimen. Imagine a 1989 D penny with a double die obverse, an off-center strike, struck on the wrong planchet, missing mint mark, and displaying a floating roof. That's not just a rare coin, that's a one-of-a-kind piece of minting history. And in the numismatic world, rarity plus condition equals value. If a coin like that appears in mint state, or better yet, has been certified by a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC with an MS 65 or higher, it enters the realm of truly elite collectibles. Bidding wars can erupt at auctions, with private collectors and museums both willing to pay enormous sums for the chance to own a piece of minting lore. Even less dramatic errors can yield impressive value. Coins with die cracks, cuds, or retained interior die breaks, where part of the coin looks misshapen or bears raised lines or blobs due to die damage, can bring in hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on severity and visibility. While these might not carry the staggering price tag of the six-figure legends, they still far exceed the coin's face value and can turn a casual pocket find into a major payday. Authentication plays a key role in verifying these rare errors. With such high values involved, fakes, counterfeits, and altered coins inevitably crop up. That's why experienced collectors insist on third-party grading and encapsulation from trusted services. These professionals use advanced tools to analyze the coin's composition, strike pattern, and die characteristics to determine authenticity and assign a grade. A 1989 D penny with dramatic errors in MS condition, verified and slabbed by PCGS, becomes a blue-chip collectible instantly. Interestingly, there's another dimension to this story, the human error element. Mints are staffed by highly trained professionals and utilize advanced machinery, but no process is perfect. Small lapses in procedure, machinery calibration issues, or even a single overlooked blank in a planchet bin can lead to error coins that escape into circulation. That these mistakes happen at all is a testament to how delicate and intricate the minting process really is. And when errors do occur, they become time capsules, frozen moments of production quirks that take on a life of their own. Some collectors believe that there may still be undiscovered examples of the 1989 D error penny sitting quietly in old penny jars, coffee cans, or change drawers across the country. It's not out of the question. With billions of coins minted, and many stored for decades before being carefully examined, the possibility that another multi-error coin could surface is real. The hobby of coin hunting, carefully checking coins in circulation for rare varieties, has seen a resurgence thanks to stories like this one. And the dream that a 1-cent coin could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars is a powerful motivator for collectors of all ages. In fact, a few notable examples of high-value 1989 Lincoln cents have already crossed auction blocks in recent years. At one such auction, a multi-error specimen certified by PCGS fetched a stunning price over 6 figures. The coin featured a strong double die obverse, heavy die cracks on the reverse, an improperly centered strike, and a faint, nearly absent mint mark. Add to that its immaculate preservation and glossy luster, and it's no surprise that bidders competed ferociously. Stories like this aren't just about money, they're about history, rarity, and the pure thrill of discovery.